go see a judge to do that, to void and nullify the contract. So that's the fundamental right that they were talking about. It's can you enter a contract with someone else if you're the same sex? And the answer is yes. And the slippery slope argument, it's an extremely logical fallacy,
right?
Because it's just nothing. Polygamy. You can't enter a marriage contract with more than one person, and people are like, well, it might lead to that. Okay, right. What's going to happen? They're going to move out to Utah where no one wants to live anyway.
Right.
So
and just because you can't throw something away that's a good idea for society based on something that might happen long down the road.
Right. That's true.
Now, Mike Huckabee, I'm confused. I'm convinced this guy's not running for president. Just like Ted Cruz, what they're doing is they're running to raise their profile so they can speak at evangelical conferences afterwards and charge a high fee because they're candidates.
Okay.
Mike Huckabee, he comes out in defense of the Duggars, and then he says that. Gay marriage is a threat to the family. He says that it's going to outlaw Christianity. Look, this isn't forcing churches to perform ceremonies that are against their religion. Now, I've seen small cities tinkering with the law, saying that you have to perform them or there'll be a fine. But that's a local law. That's not the supreme law of the land. And any business can refuse business to anyone for any reason. Now, you have the legal right to refuse business to a gay couple, but then the public has a legal right to backlash against you, and they've got the legal right to boycott your company. Now, all these people who are saying, oh, this is a threat to religious liberty, you know what? Next time a story comes out about a woman who wants to wear a burqa in her courtroom, I better hear them defending her as passionately as they're defending the right to discriminate.
Right. Or, if there's a Sharia law story coming up, you would think, that's religious liberty. We got to have that.
Right.
But it unfortunately only means their specific brand of Christianity.
Right. Home of the free, land of the brave, with liberty and justice for straight white dudes.
Right. Yeah, because there's no group that's been persecuted more than straight white guys, Mike. You know that.
Yeah, if you listen to Limbaugh, that's exactly. And these. Why is everybody picking on the rich guys?
Right, yeah.
The rich guys, everyone says that they're evil. The rich guys don't care. They're rich.
That's true. They really don't care.
They don't give a crap what poor people think. All right, Pete, we've gone a little long with this segment. I know we have, so we got to take a quick break. It's Turn the Radio Off on the Internet with special guest host Pete Smith.
Less rock, more talk. Turn the radio off.
Become a fan at peoplehatemypodcast.com.
Don't get up to turn that light off. Don't bother others in the room with annoying and disturbing clapping. Amaze your friends and enjoy yourself, all with the incredible new Zen Clapper. New from Don No Deal, it's the most amazing convenience you've ever seen or used. The Zen Clapper controls any light or small appliance with just the clap of one hand. Don't wake a sleeping child or bother a sleeping dog. Just enjoy the safety and convenience of light when you need it with just the sound of one hand clapping. The Zen Clapper is the perfect holiday gift for even your most sensitive New Age friends. Don No Deal's Zen Clapper requires no batteries and is guaranteed against defect in manufacture and workmanship until failure. Order the Zen Clapper today for the most sensitive holiday ever. The Zen Clapper from Don No Deal. Not available in any store.
Your non-stop alt-talk alternative for 1 hour a week. Turn the radio off. Become a fan at peoplehatemypodcast.com.
God damn it, I did it again.
What did you do, Mike?
We were not broadcasting then. All right, hold on. Let's start this over. All right. Yeah. Hey, thanks.
Thanks, Olin.
God, you know what? I'm worse at this. Here we go.
Your non-stop alt-talk alternative for 1 hour a week. Turn the radio off. Become a fan at peoplehatemypodcast.com.
I hate me.
No, you don't.
All right.
We're back.
So, Peter, as I was telling you off the air there, Coheed and Cambria, they were a nerd rock emo band. Well, they still are, but they were big when I was coming up about 10 years ago. And a lot of people compare them to Rush. And they started off as a way for the lead singer to promote his comic book line. Well, Funny or Die last week, they took parts of Anton Scalia, one of the Chief Justices on the Supreme Court,
right,
parts of his dissent about the Affordable Care Act and the gay marriage ruling, and they set it to music. Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing now. I'll play the whole thing at the end of the show.
I like it.
But here's a little taste.
The court's interpretation renders words inoperative. Goes beyond giving words bizarre meanings. Words no longer have meaning. Understatement by name is an opinion on the Affordable Care Act. I call attention to this court threat to American democracy. Impossible possibilities. Oh, the world does not expect logic in poetry. Same-sex marriage, I descend.
Who knew Scalia was such a wordsmith?
That's a great song.
That's like one of the best acoustic emo songs I've ever heard.
I feel like I should be in a movie with Zooey Deschanel or
Running in the Rain.
Running in the Rain.
Right.
That could be the name of the movie.
Zoe, I love you.
The court's interpretation.
This girl thought this guy was a jerk at first, and then he was kind of nice, and then they started dating, and then she found out something bad about her, and
then I had to win her with one showing of true emotions.
Impossible.
This summer, Court of Love.
But no, I don't know where you're going with that, but that was great.
I just wanted you to hear it.
That's Funny or Die's, it's a lot less than Or Die. It's pretty funny. And
yeah.
It's Scalia, people give him a hard time, and because he's a very easy target because he's one of those people that just doesn't care.
Right.
Yeah, he just does not care what you think of him. He's, I watched an interview with him once, and he, when he was confirmed, I think it was 98-0 they voted to confirm him.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
Well, I explained this in the first part where I wasn't using the equipment properly. I said I wanted to move on from the gay marriage,
That's
but
fine.
I just wanted to play that because I think as a scholarly person yourself,
What's on deck, Mike?
What's on deck?
Yeah.
Well, that's the fun of being on the show, Pete, because neither one of us know. There was, you know what?
There was.
Here locally in the city of Detroit, I hope this doesn't become an every weekend thing.
Okay.
There was another block party where a gunman opened fire. He injured 5 on the city's east side this time. And we all remember last week, there was that other block party where 400 people out, 9 people were shot, 1 person was killed. And this block party, much like that one last week, the police could not get anybody in the neighborhood to talk. Now, the one that happened last week, I heard on the news that was actually put on by a drug dealer in the neighborhood to thank the neighborhood for not snitching on him.
Really?
That's what I heard on the news. I don't know if it has changed, but I heard it on WDIV.
Okay, so
that's what happened.
So the party was put on by a drug dealer for not snitching.
Right.
Okay.
So that one's going to be a tough one to crack. Same thing's happening over there on the east side. I believe it was Gratiot. Off Gratiot and obviously just south of 8 Mile.
Wow, that's to me. I mean, that's just sad. Unfortunately, you have people who would like to do something, but they fear retribution.
Right, because they're safe while the police are in the neighborhood, but if they give the police a tip and that's followed through on, and it's found out who gave the tip, the police aren't in that neighborhood all the time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you have your windows broken out, or something much worse. You can end up, physically assaulted because of the fact that you're trying to help your neighborhood out.
Well, and the funny thing about this shooting, and I guess this block party was put on by a local rapper who was promoting the release of his album or something, but Number one, this was less than a mile away from the 9th District Precinct.
Okay.
Number two, the police officers were there about 10 minutes before it happened.
And it still happened.
Yeah, so obviously, it would seem that, away from Midtown, away from downtown, in the neighborhoods where the real work needs to happen now, it sounds like people have more fear and or respect for the drug dealers or the people opening fire than they do for the police.
Yeah, that's a big theme on Midtown to Metro. We talk about how the neighborhoods are falling behind as far as development goes, and how there needs to be development. And as soon as you get schools in the neighborhood, as soon as you get people who are safe, who feel safe, then we could have some serious change. But right now, Mike, I mean, it's just unfortunately. There's such an attitude of mistrust between the police and the citizens of the city.
Well, and earlier this week, there was a police chase. And it started where police officers saw a guy in a car. They saw he had a gun. I don't know if he was waving the gun around or if he was doing what.
That's not something to do when you have a gun.
Right. Yeah. But they saw the guy had a gun. They turned their lights on, and the guy just took off. He just took off going 80 miles an hour. Well, the man the police were chasing, he went through a neighborhood, and he killed a child with his car. And now people are looking at the police like, oh, well, they shouldn't have chased the guy once he got into the neighborhood. What's the protocol? And on this show a lot, we'll call out cops who are behaving poorly.
Right.
In this situation, I think that the blame shouldn't be on the police officer. If a guy with a gun takes off going 80 miles an hour, you're going to chase after him.
Right.
And this idiot in the car who's driving recklessly, he was the one who lost control. And I get it. Police have shown us that there's some bad apples out there.
Yeah.
And I think we are in a heightened sense of a heightened state of sensitivity. But it's like you also have to you've got to give cops leeway to do their jobs, especially if they're doing them properly.
Yeah, you can't blame someone. You can't blame the police officers for the alleged perp killing somebody.
Right.
I mean, they're just again. There's the argument, Mike. If they saw the guy waving the gun and they didn't do anything, it would come back to bite them. So they're damned if they're doing, they're damned if they're
right.
Don't.
So obviously it's very tragic, but I don't think you could put the cops. You put the fault on the cops in this one.
No.
Because then anyone who's involved in a car chase will just duck out of a residential street, and it's like goal and tag.
Right.
You can't get me now.
Right.
I'm in a neighborhood.
We're safe. You can no longer kick the can. We are safe. So.
But, it seems like at least evidence of this, and I know I don't live in the city. I know that I'm a suburbanite.
Yeah.
I'm on the outside looking in. And I could be totally off base on this, but it seems like, and I think I like Chief James Craig. Yeah. I think he's a straight shooter. I think he's doing as good of a job as he can. But it seems like the police have not won over the citizens yet.
No, and it's generational, Mike. It goes back, when the Detroit Police Department was predominantly white, and they would arrest and harass and sort of intimidate the African American citizens who lived in the city of Detroit. And if you're a grandparent, and I'll give you a really quick example. I taught at a school inside the city of Detroit, between 7 and 8 mile off of Van Dyke, and first day there, one of my students said, "My dad said never to trust white people." So I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I don't know what else to do. Your dad is a pretty influential person in your life. So if your dad is telling you, if your grandparents are telling you that the police do not have your best interest, you're not going to believe the police. You're going to believe them.
Right. And, there's some people who probably have had life experiences that lend credibility to that.
Yep. Exactly.
And I'm not going to say those people are right or wrong because I haven't had their experiences, but I just feel like that's what the police are up against right now.
And it's just a culture of not caring. And like you mentioned, James Craig, that has got to be the most thankless job in the city of Detroit.
Right.
Either that or the fire chief. I mean, it's just awful.
Yeah. So let's take a quick break. I'm glad I have you on here, Pete, because there's something I want to pick your brain about, and I feel like you've got a unique perspective that not a lot of people have. Now, just remind me to flip our mic.